Hello, everybody, and welcome to Right Here, Right Now, live Buffalo Football Talk, presented by Forefathers Organics. I'm your host, Alex Brasky, alongside my co-host, Ajay Cybulski, here for the Batavia Daily and Livingston County News. Each week, we'll discuss Buffalo's favorite football team, along with all the comings and goings from Orchard Park, thanks to our friends at Forefathers Organics in Dansville.
Unlock the power of nature with Forefathers Organics, your premium CBD store. We offer the highest quality CBD and hemp products to liberate your mind, body, and soul, helping you live happy and free. Our mission is driven by excellence and transparency, using cutting-edge scientific methods to combat stress and target issues at their source. From potent ingestible CBD to soothing topicals, all our products are USDA certified organic. Discover all natural wellness from farm to table. Visit forefathersorganics.com for more information.
All right, AJ, Bills Titans coming up shortly. And this is your first game covering the Bills in person. I'm sure you're excited to do so. Your thoughts on this one coming up and your thoughts on being here in Orchard Park?
Yeah, it was nice. Get up early this morning, get the suit all nice and ready for this one. But yeah, looking forward to this Bills versus Titans Week 7 matchup. It should be a good one between two teams that, are definitely far away from each other on the AFC standings, but there's some potential changes on both sides of the ball right now for both sides, with Mason Rudolph getting the start and Amari Cooper coming over. So should be a good one. The Titans have obviously struggled to start this one. The Bills have kind of bounced back with that Jets victory, but Bills really need to win here, and also the Titans need to find a way to get one done as well.
So today is Amari Cooper's debut in a Bills uniform. A lot of talk surrounding his joining the Bills, traded from the Cleveland Browns, now a member here in Buffalo and getting ready, like I said, for his first matchup in the red, white, and blue. Uncertain what to expect from him here this afternoon. He has been traded midseason before, so I think his experience doing so will give him maybe a leg up from a player who hasn't gone through a similar situation, but I think it's still an uphill battle for him to acclimate himself into this offense and become a significant contributor. I think this week he'll be eased in, maybe not a decoy, but someone who takes attention away from some of the other Bills pass catchers and allows them to flourish a bit more than we've seen early in the season. But I don't think you're going to see Cooper out here playing 80% of the snaps, 10 receptions, 100 yards. I could be wrong, and I'd love to see it, but I think the Bills are going to ease him in here today, maybe closer to 60%, 50% of the snaps. They'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, and with Amari Cooper, I mean, you're not expecting too much, I'd say, but maybe a few catches here and there. And like you mentioned, around half of that snap share, I think, is a good spot to start with Amari. So he's going to, he's a veteran. He's done it at this level for a long time, and he's a guy that knows how to run routes and get open and catch the ball, which Josh Allen needs at this point with how they've struggled really to separate at that wide receiver position, and also just overall the offense at points in the passing game, whether it's been Josh Allen or the offensive line, has just struggled. So Amari Cooper should ease that. It'll be interesting to see if they try and connect. I'm looking forward to the first Coop from the fan base today, hearing that in person. That's always something cool. I know you do the Groot with Greg Rousseau, and now we got Coop with Amari Cooper. So it'll be cool to hear Bills Mafia do that. And yeah, with Mason Rudolph, he's an experienced guy. 9 of 17, like you put in your 5 takeaways article on the Batavia Daily News Online.com. 9 of 17 for 85 yards. Not really nothing special against Miami, but they still won that game 31-12. But he's a guy, like you mentioned, Alex. He's been around the league. He's been in multiple spots. He's appeared, in many games. He played against the Bills last year in the AFC wildcard game, finished 22 of 39 for 229 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick for Pittsburgh. So he does have experience in big games. He does have experience overall. So he's a player that maybe might bring some more promise and, I should say, like rhythm to this Titans offense.
Yeah, and we'll touch on Mason Rudolph a little bit later, but when it comes to Amari Cooper, not a lot in terms of his personality, a soft-spoken guy, someone who really blends into the locker room, doesn't say much. I heard Nick Saban talking with, I believe, Pat McAfee, said throughout Cooper's time at Alabama, Saban wasn't sure if the two had a conversation the entire time, but he was a player that came to work each and every day, and really was one of the favorites of his teammates. And you hear that from Cleveland as well. Amongst the Browns fan base, a lot of the Browns fans talking about how Cooper may have quit on that team. And that may have led to some of the drops and some of the struggles that he's seen within that passing offense. But if you talk to his teammates, he's still a highly regarded player there, somebody that was close to beloved in that locker room and someone who a lot of the younger players relied on in terms of a veteran sounding board. So I think this is going to be a big boost for the Bills. And while I said it might be a slow start for Cooper in terms of his implementation into the offense, I think this is going to work wonders for a group that has struggled to get open down the field and find that consistency that they've been known for in the aerial attack the past several years. Dalton Cade surpassed 50 yards for the first time last week. But I think with Cooper now in tow, that will take some attention away from Kincaid. It will undoubtedly take some attention away from a player like Keon Coleman. And while Khalil Shakir's had a strong start to the season, I think he can only improve with this addition as well. So I think along with the production that you're going to get from Cooper, just his presence on the field alone is going to mean a lot for this team.
Yeah, and like you're going back to the teammates and past coaches who have talked about him, how he just goes about his business and doesn't really talk. And if he's not getting the ball, he's not complaining. It was clear, and Jordan Schultz reported this from Bleacher Report Insider, that the Bills were fed up with Stephon Diggs' mentality and personality in the locker room, and that was a big part of it. And now you go in the other direction with Amari Cooper, a quieter guy, a guy that just wants to play his role, make the team better, and get it done. I think that is a switch up, and that is an important factor of all this. I mean, the Bills are eating $31 million in dead cap for Stephon Diggs, and now you bring in Amari Cooper, who's $800,000 the rest of the way in this trade. So it's really a win-win for the Bills. You give up a third pick, you get a second-round pick back for trading Stephon Diggs. It's essentially a flip-flop for a cheaper player. They're both the same age, and he's a guy that I think fits the mold of what the Bills want to do offensively more in terms of personality, because I think time ran its course with the Stephon Diggs experiment, and I think Amari Cooper will be a nice addition to this team, not only in the locker room but on the field as well. So I think it's almost a picture perfect plan for Brandon Beane and what he came up with to get this done, and I think it just made perfect sense for both sides.
Yeah, I think Devontae Adams was always a pipe dream, and once they realized that the Raiders weren't going to eat enough of that money, or perhaps any of that money, they had to move on, and I think the next best thing was Amari Cooper, and maybe even a better thing considering the money, considering that he's a free agent at the end of the season. So I think this is a perfect move for the Bills, and I really think it's going to take them to another level within the passing game. Next, inactives were recently announced, and Ray Davis not among them. He's dealing with that calf injury. He was questionable to play, but it appears as if he's going to be out there. It remains to be seen in what capacity. James Cook is back this week, and more on him later. But Ray Davis out there coming off a big game against the Jets. That's certainly a positive sign for the Bills entering this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, Alex, because now that James Cook is back and now obviously Ray Davis active, I'm interested to see how this backfield works. I know it's still going to be majority James Cook, but it feels like after last week's performance from Ray Davis, they really need to get him involved more frequently than they have been. I think he's a perfect complement to James Cook. He's physical. He finishes runs off. He was very dominant at the college level. He's 24 years old. He's a bigger bodied guy. Still has a lot of speed. So I think he can bring another element to this Bills rushing attack. And of course, James Cook's special and what he does in the pass catching game. They need to continue to feed him. But I think there also needs to be more Ray Davis as well. If Joe Brady can try and figure that out and implement that.
Yeah, and we were on Ty Johnson as the replacement for Cook leading into last week's game. And simply put, Ray Davis didn't receive a carry the last game he played with James Cook. So I think that weighed heavily on my mind going into that game. And that's really what led to my opinion that Ty Johnson would be the main ball carrier against the Jets. But it'll be, like you said, it will be interesting to see how they utilize a Ray Davis with James Cook in this offense. They tried to get it going at the beginning of the season. Davis really wasn't successful in finding room to run, but I think in order to take this running game to another level, we talked about Cooper taking the passing game to another level. In order for this running game to reach its highest potential, I think they need to find a way to utilize both of those running backs simultaneously, and then maybe mix in Ty Johnson as well, particularly in the passing game. We've seen some big catches from him already this season. So I like where the Bills are in terms of their running game. And like we said, James Cook getting healthy this week, coming off that foot-toe injury, practiced all week. Looked like he had a chance to play against the Jets. They held him out, and he should be close to 100% today against Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what James Cook can provide, and just the element he brings in terms of the pass catching game. And he just really looked solid this year to start. There was one, I think, drop that comes to mind. I forget which game, but I think he's had one like pretty big drop. And obviously that one where against the Jets, or not against the Jets, it was a toe tapper. I think it was against Houston, where you could argue that might be the play where he got hurt. That was great hands on the play, just didn't get that second foot in. But based off the review, there might have been a catch up by James Cook there on that.
I think that was it. The one deep down the field near the pylon on the left side. Yeah, thigh doctor clipped it, and he really slammed his toe hard on that play. I think that was the play for sure.
Yeah. So I think he got his foot in there, but other than that, I mean, he's been pretty good, pretty solid. Continue to take care of the ball for him. Not allow these fumbles, but he's been overall doing a good job for this Bills offense.
Place is starting to fill up, AJ. Excitement building. Bills Titans. It's been maybe a mini rivalry in the AFC over the past few years with Bills fans. They like traveling down to Nashville. You often see a lot of Titans fans up here as well. So it should be a good one here. Are you excited to cover your first game? I know that you're looking fly. Fit check for AJ over here. Rocking the suit, looking great.
I'm excited. I'm trying to get the some fans here in the background. Look at that.
There you go.
Bills Mafia in bunches. Shoulder would break if I held it like this the whole show, but we'll give the people a little look.
Right, we might tear our rotator
cuff. Yeah.
Another player returning today, along with James Cook, Ed Oliver in the middle of that defensive line. Bills struggled to stop the run against the Jets, a team that was the worst running team in the league. Now you go up against a Titans team that has had success running the ball, and Tony Pollard has really looked good in this offense. A strong, albeit young, a strong offensive line in Tennessee. Getting Ed Oliver back in the middle of that defense alongside Daquan Jones, who took a step forward last week, I think that's a big addition as well.
Yeah, Ed Oliver is obviously an important piece to this, what this team wants to do defensively. They obviously have missed him. I think his presence as a pass rusher more so, but he can still, defend the run at an average level, and that's what he's shown throughout his career. So I think Ed Oliver being back is always huge for the pass rush and what they want to do. Daquan Jones probably is happy, but a guy that really stepped up nicely in his place, Dwayne Carter. Interested to see how much he plays today, but I thought he's done a good job either batting the ball down, some tackles for loss, some quarterback hurries or what be it. So I think there's some talent on this Bills defensive line, especially in the interior, and adding Ed Oliver back to the mix is obviously huge.
Yeah, Ed Oliver, kind of an undersized player as well. Dwayne Carter, his strength is not against the run. His strength is certainly rushing the passer, using his speed, using his get off to beat offensive linemen. So I think getting a veteran player like Oliver back, I think that's going to help you stop the run. Before we get too deep into this podcast, let's thank our sponsor again, Forefathers Organics in Dansville.
Unlock the power of nature with Forefathers Organics, your premium CBD store. We offer the highest quality CBD and hemp products to liberate your mind, body, and soul, helping you live happy and free. Our mission is driven by excellence and transparency, using cutting-edge scientific methods to combat stress and target issues at their source. From potent ingestible CBD to soothing topicals, all our products are USDA certified organic. Discover all natural wellness from farm to table. Visit forefathersorganics.com for more information.
All right, AJ. So, excuse me. Try to mute yourself. Me and AJ are standing so close, you might hear an echo when I'm talking. So AJ will try to mute himself when I'm talking. It doesn't seem to be echoing when I'm when you're talking. So I don't understand how that's working. But technology is certainly smarter than I am. Let's move on, AJ, and you touched on it to lead off the podcast. The QB change for the Titans. Will Levis is being replaced by Mason Rudolph. It is apparently due to injury. It's been reported that Levis could be out multiple weeks with, I believe, a grade 2 AC joint sprain. I think that's what it is, if you could confirm that. Okay, so yeah, AJ is confirming. So it could be multiple weeks for Levis, and really, that could be a boon for this Titans team. He's been terrible this year. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league by all the advanced metrics. I think AJ may have some of them available. Now you move to Mason Rudolph. He has been on the field for the Titans' only win of the season, Week 4 over the Miami Dolphins. He didn't finish that game very strong. AJ already mentioned his stats, but he played a clean game, and that's really what Levis has struggled to do throughout the course of the season. So Rudolph will give you a chance to win. He's not going to make many plays, but if the Titans can play clean around him and make some plays around him, that could spell trouble for the Bills more so than if you have Levis out there, kind of a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, that was one of my top storylines with this game was the quarterback, problem I think that's going on
the dailynewsonline.com.
On the dailynewsonline.com. Forgot to shout that out. But yeah, I think that this Bills, team has a challenge going against Rudolph, but at the same time, I think there's also a major quarterback problem going on in Tennessee with Will Levis. I don't have his advanced stats, but I do have through about 5 games. One of the games he only played in about the first quarter because he left with that injury. But completing 66.4% of his passes for 699 yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I don't know how many fumbles. I can't pull that up right now, but I've watched Titans games this year, throwing another 2 or 3 reckless fumbles in the red zone that cost the team some points. This Titans team hasn't been that far away. And again, Mason Rudolph won a game 31-12 earlier this season. I know, albeit against Tyler Huntley, who could not even really complete a pass in that game. But again, I know we're going to get to it later. This Titans defense, I think, can play some football. So there is some hope, I think, for Titans fans, but there's definitely a quarterback problem going on. The Bills, every team wants a Josh Allen, right? The Titans select Will Levis, 33rd overall, the 2023 NFL draft. They add DeAndre Hopkins, and then they add Calvin Ridley. Kind of like the Bills. They brought in John Brown, Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs. You try to build around this quarterback, and now in his second season, you feel like he just can't, cut those mistakes, and like Josh Allen has. So, or like Josh Allen did in the past. And that's kind of what the issue is right now with Tennessee. Injury or not, if Mason Rudolph performs well today, I think there might be a serious quarterback controversy brewing in Tennessee.
And I touched on the running game earlier. Brian Callahan, the head coach, obviously son of legendary offensive line coach Bill Callahan. He is the offensive line coach in Tennessee. They've been able to run the football, and that's been the Bills' Achilles heel on defense. I think they've done a quality job with their cornerbacks, Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas, performing at a high level. Safeties maybe leaving a little bit to be desired at times, but I think overall in the back end, the Bills have been solid. It's allowing big plays in the running game that have really allowed opposing offenses to find their rhythm. And I think you have to take that away against the Titans team with Tony Pollard. They are missing Tajay Spears, who's out for this game, but Pollard is the bell cow, and a Bill Callahan coach team, I'll be an offensive line coach at this point in his career. They're going to try to ground and pound. They're going to try to get after you in the trenches.
Yeah, Tony Pollard's been the best player for the Titans on their offense this year. And it's funny because in Dallas last year, he almost looked better suited as a backup to a Zeke or whatever was going on over there when Tony Pollard kind of emerged as this runner. And now he signs this big lucrative contract with Tennessee. And he's really, I think, done better this year with Tennessee than he did last year as a starter in Dallas so far up to this point. And I think his rushing ability between the tackles, he's a very good runner. He runs, I don't know how to explain it, but he's like a very thin runner. He can squeeze through these tight goals and gaps and really slippery. Yeah. And he just runs really skinny and can fit between these small spaces. And he's very, very upright. So I think he's got some speed. The Bills are going to have to key in on him today. They obviously provide also some pass catchers, DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley. But with the way the quarterbacks have played there, it's just been so hard for them to get implemented on top of they're both in their 30s. And I think they might be a little, worse than they used to be. They might not be in the prime of their career. I still think they have some juice, but in terms of that prime, I think that's past. So they have some talent. Tony Pollard's going to be, I think, the key for them if they want to win this game in terms of the Tennessee perspective. But the Bills defense is going to have to respond up front and utilize their good defensive line to get the job done.
This Titans defense, another strong element of Tennessee's attack. Maybe a bit watered down. We'll touch on that a bit later. But why don't you give a few context points and allow the people to understand what's allowed Tennessee to become the best defense in the league in terms of, I believe, yards allowed?
Yeah, so right now, it's funny because they're quite the opposite, Alex, in terms of their team stat rankings through 6 weeks. So their offense right now comes into this game. They're 31st overall in the league, 31st in passing in the league, and then 15th in running, and then 21st in points, scoring 19.2 per game. But defensively, it's been the opposite. It's been a totally different story. They have the first overall defense in the entire NFL, first against the pass, 9th against the run, and have allowed 22 points per game, which is 13th. And that's quite impressive for an offense that's struggling as bad as they have to allow only 22 points per game. I think that's really impressive. I mean, it all starts for them. They have a great safety duo back there in Tennessee. Their safeties play really well. Quandre Diggs, and Amani Hooker. L'Jarius Sneed, I think, has he been ruled? He was questionable. But
I'll check on that right now.
L'Jarius Sneed, if he is playing, that's huge. If not, they got some huge problems at the cornerback position going into this game. And then they're obviously their linebackers pretty good. Ernest Jones, the
Sneed is out.
Okay, so Sneed's out. That's their best cornerback. So L'Jarius Sneed out. That's definitely going to hurt their, cornerback and pass defense. But and again,
he hasn't been playing at the same level as he has in past years. But he's killed the Bills in the past, and certainly their best option on the outside.
Yep, and then on the inside, you obviously, Jeffrey Simmons, one of the best, interior rushers in the NFL. I know they're on a 3-4, so he's technically a defensive end, but still lines up in the middle. He can really rush anywhere. Tavondre Sweat, the nose tackle, big body from Texas, and then Sebastian Joseph Day, who's also a consistent winner on the edge. So their defensive line is really stout. They have playmakers at the linebacker position, and then the loss at corner with Sneed's going to be huge for this Titans team because again now teams have to prepare for not only Shakir and all this, but now you got Amari Cooper out there on the outside, so it's a whole different ball game now when these teams go against the Bills offense.
Let's wrap up the pod with this before we get to our predictions. Tyler Bass, really rough day against the Jets last week. Bills sign a kicker and Lucas Havrasik. I believe it was reported earlier this morning that they're continuing to work out kickers. So another bad day for Bass. They could pivot to Havrasik. Not saying he's the answer. I think he missed 3 extra points last year. He's been as inconsistent throughout his career as Tyler Bass. As you hear the hour-to-go train horn here at noon at Highmark Stadium. But Havrasik is certainly not the answer, AJ. But I don't think that Bills would wait too long to pivot to Havrasik and at least give Tyler Bass a break or just try another option and try to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks if Bass is to struggle again today. And there's supposed to be gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour in Highmark Stadium and a lot of pressure on Bass to come through with a consistent performance today or his time already running short. If he comes through with another rough effort, his time could be running out.
Yeah, it's definitely tough because right now, like you look around the league and there were some tweets about trading him, which no team's going to take that contract in the first place. So, that's not an option. So take that away. Then
$7 million dead cap hit too if they were to cut him.
Right. So you can't cut him. So you can't trade him. You can't cut him. So what do you do? It's tough because there's not a lot of kickers out there anyway. Like I love how when they signed the practice squad guy, and I wrote about him, and I can't think of his name. I know you just said it, but I don't.
Lucas Havrasik.
Lucas Havrasik. Yeah, he's been okay in his career. He's only played in 1 year with the Rams, and I wrote the stats in my preview, but I can't access that right now, unfortunately. So I think with Bass, he's 9 of 12 on field goals this year, 18 of 20 on extra points, which is not that great. But it's funny. When I was looking up his stats, I found an article from the Bills PR or on the Buffalo Bills website talking about all the records Tyler Bass broke in his first 2 seasons and all the points record and this and that. So this guy's one of the most decorated kickers to start an NFL career, and now it's just kind of totally flip-flopped. And yeah, there's going to be some pressure on him. He spoke with Jonathan Acosta from WGRZ this week, talked about it, how he feels like he's he knows it's a results-driven league, and he hasn't produced and hasn't gotten the results that he's wanted, and that's going to put pressure on him and the rest of the special teams unit to execute these field goals. And again, against the Titans team that you feel far superior than, you're not going to score every time you get inside that red zone. So those field goals will be crucial. It's a bit breezy today, so maybe that can also play in factor. But yeah, he's got a short string right now, but I don't really know what you do. I hope maybe just pray and hope the guy you bring in can get it done.
Yeah, I think with the way that the Bills are trending, more running game, more ball control style offense, a lot of these games are going to come down to field goals. You've already seen it to begin this season. Tyler Bass needs to become more consistent or he's going to be out the door very quickly. Havrasik's numbers for the Rams last year, 15 of 20 on his field goal attempts, 19 of 22 on extra points. So he's not the answer, but he could be an answer in the short term. Maybe he gives you a boost 1 or 2 games, but as time goes on, I don't think he's ever going to turn into an elite kicker in this league. Bills are going to have to do something this offseason, try to find a veteran kicker on the waiver wire, the free agent wire, maybe trade for one at low cost. I don't think Bass is fit for a starting role in Buffalo moving forward beyond this year. Just got to hope he gets you through the rest of this season. AJ, let's get to our predictions. My 5 takes on the dailynewsonline.com, available now. I talked about the Bills returning home. It's their first non-primetime game at home since week 1. I think that's going to give Josh Allen and company a boost. Able to work the normal cadence. Josh Allen talked about it during the week of practice, how he found himself still working the silent count on Wednesday just because they've been on the road for 3 straight weeks, and that's kind of been ingrained into his mind. But now able to work with a little bit of freedom, have control of the crowd. I think that's going to help this offense here this afternoon. Also, we talked about the Bills getting healthy, Amari Cooper's presence, and how a bunch of these other pass catchers have to shine in this one. We talked about the Titans defense, AJ. It's not as good as it looks, and I forgot to mention this. They've played far inferior quarterbacks than Josh Allen. Rookie quarterback Caleb Williams in his first start in week 1. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets in week 2. Green Bay with Malik Willis in week 3. Week 4, Tyler Huntley and the Dolphins, and then they had a bye and they played Joe Flacco last week. So they put up great numbers, but they have not faced the quarterback even close to the quality of Josh Allen. So I think he's going to expose them today. Josh Allen goes for 300-plus passing yards. James Cook rushes for a touchdown in his return, and the Bills win 35-14 to improve to 5-2 on the season.
Yeah, I got the Bills in this one, 31-20. I think they take care of business and obviously take home the victory. 31-20, 30 points plus for the Bills in this game. I think they're just a far better team going into this matchup, and I like what they can do. It's about taking care of business right now, and the Bills need to do that. It's a must-win game at home in front of your crowd that you haven't seen in 3 games. So it's a huge game in terms of that, getting back on track. You struggled a little bit. You found a way against the Jets, even though it was ugly with all those penalties. Now I think it's time to bring it together. I'm really interested to see the dynamic with Cooper and how that makes the offense work and how Joe Brady kind of figures that out. And obviously defensively looking forward to the return of Ed Oliver. And I want to see Greg Rousseau continue to kind of build off a solid week last week.
Before we get out of here, we'd like to thank our sponsor once more, Forefathers Organics in Dansville. At Forefathers Organics, their mission is to liberate, educate, and innovate with the highest quality CBD and hemp-derived products for your mind, body, and soul so you can live happy and free. Visit them at 87 Franklin Street in Dansville, online at forefathersorganics.com, or call them at 585-335-2223 to learn more about the products they offer. All right, AJ, place filling up here at Highmark Stadium. You're getting set to cover your first game from the press box. Any final words for the people here, right now?
Luke Prince on Twitter.
Luke Prince, the parking attendant on my Twitter. You can check out that photo on X at Alex Brasky. Luke Prince looking fly, repping Big Baller Bean on his chest. Just a great guy, a all-around Bills fan. And making a little bit of money, it seemed, as well, AJ.
Yeah, it was good for you, Luke. Get the shout out. Well deserved.
Let me see if I can pull that up for the people, AJ. Keep talking.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this Bills game. Again, week 7. The year's flying by. Just going around the league here real quick about other games. Jaguars up 25-10 over the Patriots in the third quarter. Falcons taking on the Seahawks today, which should be a good one. A couple other key games. Texans versus the Packers, which should be a really good game. Lions-Vikings should be a really good game, a battle in the NFC North for NFC North superiority. And then obviously the 425 game, Chiefs-Niners will be good in San Fran. And then Sunday night, Jets-Steelers. And then also Monday Night Football tomorrow, Ravens-Bucks and Chargers-Cardinals. So a lot of good key matchups this week. Obviously Chiefs-Niners, Vikings-Lions are the key ones, and then sprinkle in a few other good games as well. Texans-Packers, Ravens-Bucks. So good week in week 7 here for some quality football.
Trying to pull it up here, AJ. There's Luke Prince. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
There he is.
There he
Luke
is.
Prince out waving down the Parkers out on Big Tree Road on our way in. Just loving life out there and letting it all hang out, as they say. Nothing better.
Yeah, good for you, Luke. Beautiful day, too, to do it. 65, 66 degrees. No cloud in the sky.
That is Bill's weather, and that is a Bill's body right there, if I've ever heard of one. That's going to do it for us right here, right now. For AJ, I'm Alex. We will see you next time.
Peace out.